Hi, I'm Jessica Rudnicki with Reynolds & Reynolds. Welcome to Connected. Reynolds recently acquired an exciting company named Gubagoo. To celebrate, our guest today is Brad Title, CEO and founder of Gubagoo. We'll be talking about the company's past and looking ahead to the future. Let's get connected. Hi, Brad. We're so excited to have you on the podcast today. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here as well.
Of course. Well, let's dive right into Gubagoo. So can you give our audience an overview of who Gubagoo is as a company and maybe some of the products that you offer?
Sure. So Gubagoo as a company, for all intents and purposes, has been designed to help dealers future-proof their business and ultimately help win the future. As a broad stroke statement, as that may sound, we're all about driving consumer interaction, connecting the dealer with the consumer in real time, and enabling a retail transaction to occur online or in a blended buying experience where the consumer can start online and complete in the store, or for that matter, anywhere. That's ultimately what we are focused on. The conversational commerce lends a complete hand to the whole retail experience because that's where all the consumer engagement comes from. And it also enables us to provide a guided experience to help assist the consumers in the retail process.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a very exciting space, and I'm glad that you mentioned blended. It's a blended experience because we're seeing that a lot today. Consumers will start the process maybe online or in store and then go in store or go online. So yeah, it's definitely that hybrid model. So thank you for sharing a little bit of background information about the company. Over the years, how has Gubagoo evolved and grown?
Great question. So when I started the company, I told our staff that we're going to start here, but in 3 years, we're going to be over here because we are going to pivot with what doesn't work and we're going to stick to what does work. And so, when we started the company, it was all about behavior scoring and helping identify anonymous people on the web. And then with that came a toolbar with social profiles to help stop redirecting traffic off the site. And then there was products that we tried to create that didn't work. So we completely pivoted and introduced chat. And as we started controlling the flow of consumer traffic, we then started to drive the engagement. And that's what became our mission and our vision. And over time, we would always look to reinvent ourselves and reinvent the company and its products. So as retailing started to take flight and it was a slow adopting space, we saw an absolute natural fit. Websites have a tendency to be lonely, and consumers, when it comes to buying a car, have a lot of questions. And with the retail space online being a self-managed, very lonely experience, it seemed like a natural fit that we could bring conversational commerce into the equation, where the dealer could watch us engaging with the consumer. They could whisper to the operator or jump in and rescue it and assist the customer directly. And over time, as the space has matured and evolved, so did our technology and our vision. And it's been this type of nimble thinking that has allowed for us to get to this stage in the game so far.
Well, that is wonderful to hear. And I can't tell you, talking about, a web page or a website being lonely, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to like a website and it would have been so nice to have, a little chat box on the side there where if I had a question, I could have had that answered right away. So I love what you guys are doing, what you've done. And now that we've got a pretty good sense of where Gubagoo has been, let's talk about where it's going. So you mentioned, the retail landscape and how that's kind of evolving, especially with digital retailing, changing at a faster and faster rate every day, right? People are moving more online. We all know that, the interactions, as you mentioned earlier, it's that hybrid model. They're not just happening inside of a dealership anymore, and customers are more empowered with information at their fingertips being online. So tell us a little bit about your perspective, I'm curious, on all of this change and where it's taking Gubagoo.
So without getting too far into the long-term vision of the company, our space is transforming very quickly. COVID was absolutely a contributor to the fast tracking. Fortunately, we were in a position to have all the tools that we've invested in and developed to help consumers and the dealers through this process. But as we continue to drive more dealer adoption and consumer adoption online, the ability to continue to data mine these customers, stay engaged with them offline, offsite, retarget them. And so encroach on the CRM space is probably the next part of our pathway, where we will be able to deliver this extremely exciting all-in-one solution where you can drive traffic, engage the customer, help transact, be able to retarget, re-engage, and drive the entire mission of the dealership online or offline, doesn't matter. And be able to do it, whether it's in a mobile device or on a desktop or through a tablet one day. And so just trying to be able to take CRM to the next level of making it more intelligent and smarter, and being able to embody all that retail is within it.
Yes. Well, wonderful, wonderful goals to have. And like you said earlier, you mentioned, you told your team at the very beginning, the inception of Gubagoo, we're starting here, we're going to aim for here. So I think you're definitely going in the right direction. And it is no surprise that, the acquisition announcement was just made, that you are now a part of the Reynolds family. So welcome. What are you most excited about moving forward with Reynolds?
I think that being able to reinvent CRM is going to be a very exciting project. But at the current stage, I think the most important thing for me and our team is that we're going to be able to completely connect the end-to-end dots for the consumer transaction. We're going to remove absolutely 100% of all the friction points that the sales managers, BDC, internet people go through when trying to transact online, offline, at home. There is no better company to help partner and integrate with that can complete the entire end-to-end experience. And so I think that what we're embarking on is not the end for us. It's just the beginning of an exciting journey, because there actually isn't that many companies I could think of that can take all the different moving parts that they possess today and put together in one ecosystem, a unified solution that talks to each other, integrates with the DMS, and completes the entire transaction. I don't think there's another company out there that can pull all the resources together as closely as Reynolds can. And for that, I'm enormously excited. The entire company is.
Well, we are definitely excited as well. And I think, you mentioned earlier removing the friction points. That is something that we definitely align on. So I think it's a great match. It's a match made in heaven, and we're definitely happy to have you a part of the Reynolds family.
Thank you.
Brad, for our dealers out there watching today, how can they learn more about Gubagoo?
So the first thing I would recommend is please go to gubagoo.com. We also have our social profiles online from LinkedIn and Facebook as well. Gubagoo.com absolutely shows you all the products and functionality that we offer, and is educational. Please reach out, please call. We're here to help our dealers win the future.
Yes, and for those listening through Spotify, Apple, or SoundCloud, that is gubagoo.com. And fantastic. Thank you for sharing those resources. Hopefully we'll have some dealers who are interested in Gubagoo and reach out to either you or the Reynolds team. Brad, before we wrap up today, any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners?
I would say that for all dealers that are trying to complete the end-to-end transaction, they have to be mindful of the blended buying experience. Over 75% of consumers finish in store, and all of them have payoffs. So you need to really look at the tools you're using and make sure that you have confirmed what are the key things that your tool needs to deliver to truly offer that end-to-end experience, because that's where the biggest hiccups are in our space today.
Could not agree more. Thank you again for coming on the podcast today and giving us some insight into Gubagoo.
Thank you very much for having me.
It was so much fun talking with Brad about Gubagoo and hearing how excited he is to help shape the future of automotive retailing. Before we hop off, just a quick reminder, you can watch or listen to past and future podcast episodes on YouTube or Apple and Spotify podcasts by searching for The Connected Podcast. Subscribe on these channels to get notified every other Wednesday when new episodes are released. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.